Hey now, it's a hot summer day and we're looking for something to help us cool down. I also happen to have a bunch of fresh mint here in the greenhouse, so this seems like a great opportunity to make a batch of mint chocolate chip ice cream, so come along for the ride. I'm going to be using two kinds of mint here. First of all, I've got some of this peppermint, and then I also have some chocolate mint, so I'm going to pick some of each. So I have my mint leaves picked. I've got roughly 2 cups here when I pack it down. Now I went with the 50-50 blend of that chocolate mint, which is going to play super nicely in this ice cream here. It's got a great flavor, which is really reminiscent of the ice cream that I'm looking for. And then also going with the peppermint here. It's a more strongly flavored mint and it's going to really kind of beef things up. If I wasn't using the peppermint in here as well, I would probably be tempted to go with closer to 3 cups, but because I've got that, we'll be good with this. I'm just going to be adding it to a heavy bottom saucepan. And this is going to be simmering with a 50-50 blend of just like a whole milk, a 3.25% milk fat milk, and then also a cup here of a half and half, so like a 10% cream. I'm just going to be adding this to this here. And just based on the size of this sauce pot, I'm going to add my other cup here of that cream, just so that it's nicely covered, and we're going to get this onto the stovetop. And now over a medium-low heat, I'm just going to slowly bring this up to a really gentle simmer just until it's steaming. So we've just hit the point where this is steaming. I've turned off the heat here, and during this process I was also just sort of muddling this a little bit just by stabbing it here with my wooden utensil. So after I turned that off, I let this sit here for about half an hour with the lid on. Then I turned the heat back on, took it back to that just gentle steam, then turned it off, let it sit for another half hour here. We're just getting some really nice steep action going on here without getting that milk and cream too hot. Now I'm just wanting to strain this liquid here. You can see it's picked up a little bit of color, which is really nice. We're going to strain it out, and then I'm going to press with the rubber scraper here, and we're going to get out as much of the dairy as possible. Now we're going to return this back to this saucepan, and we're going to warm it up again here so we can add our sugar and salt. So now that I have this back on the stove top, I'm just going to be adding my sweetness. So I've got, this is actually 2/3 of a cup of just white sugar here. You could go anywhere from 2/3 to probably 3/4 of a cup. I don't know if you'd want to go much more than that, but you just have to go based on your preference. Then I also have just a pinch of kosher salt here. And the purpose behind heating it up here now is just to dissolve both the sugar and the salt. As soon as that has happened, you can take it off the heat. Oh, so my cream here is a little foamy. That's just because I've really been working it here just to ensure that everything is dissolved. It's just starting to hit that light steaming phase again here. I'm done, and now let's get it in another container. So I'm just going to pour this back in the same container that I used when I was straining. I like a nice wide container like this just to maximize the surface area, because the point here now is to chill this down as much as possible. I'll just pop this lid on and get it into the fridge. All right, everything's chilled down. We are ready to actually make our ice cream. I'm using my Cuisinart ice cream maker here. It is a 2-quart machine. I do have the actual vessel that the ice cream goes into nicely frozen down. I put that in there 24 hours ago, so we're ready to rock here. I'm just going to put in place the paddle as well as the lid. We are ready to go. So I threw my ice cream mixture in the freezer for the last 30 minutes here. It was already cooled down. I just wanted to drop that temperature just a little bit more. Now using this ice cream maker is incredibly easy. Once I have the actual vessel here, the frozen vessel in there, I can just turn on the machine and add my flavored cream mixture here. I'm going to be adding an extra cup of that whole milk, which I also had in the freezer temporarily there just to chill it down a bit more. And here we can see the magic happening. So the outside edge of this is beginning to freeze the milk and the cream that's on the inside, and then it's all going to combine together. Now you'll notice we didn't bother with egg yolks or anything like that in here. We are making a Philadelphia style ice cream, which is a little bit simpler. It's just that dairy and then of course all the fun stuff that we're adding to it. Now this will result in a slightly lighter, smoother ice cream as opposed to the more traditional variety. So as your ice cream begins to freeze and harden, you get to see slight little chunks beginning to form, and that is the first phase showing you that everything's working out the way it should. After 15 minutes here, you can see how much it has gotten frozen. We are getting pretty close here to being done. So after 20 minutes here, we are practically done. I've got some chocolate chips here that I also had in the freezer. I'm just going to start to mix those in. This is going to be more volume than this thing can actually take. but I'm just going to try to get some of the initial folding in accomplished here with the paddles. So after just a couple of minutes of letting those chocolate chips fold in, and by the way, it all managed to fit, which is beautiful, we now need to take the ice cream, get it into an airtight container, and let it just sort of firm up a little bit in the freezer for a little while. However, these ones aren't going to let me do that until they have a little taste, so let's do that. Let's get you a big bite there. Ooh.
Ooh.
And you as well.
Delicious.
Ooh, what do you think? Fantastic.
Awesome.
All right, they have been sated. Let's get this chilled down.
Fantastic.
Well, after getting this into the freezer and letting it chill down, look at that. We are ready to try. And so the taste test here with this mint chocolate chip ice cream. All right. There is no substitute for fresh mint. Peppermint extract, you can get some of that mint flavor, but the fresh mint steeping in that milk and that cream, it is an extra step and it slows things down just a little bit, but it's so incredibly worth it. It's so fresh and bright in its flavor. And with that 2/3 cup of the sugar in there, it's just enough sweetness to carry through. And then with the chocolate chips, semi-sweet, awesome. You can go dark. I really prefer that, but the children like the semi-sweet chips, so there we are. And making your own ice cream like this, you have control of all the ingredients. You know exactly what's in it. You just have the dairy. You've got that nice, beautiful fresh mint in there. There's no preservatives or anything weird like that in it. And it is absolutely amazing. Going with this Philadelphia style ice cream, it's really nice, smooth, creamy, delicious. All right, I'm going to go make myself a bowl here, so keep her at 11.